according to that.
Oh, we're not on break though. We should be on break.
What?
Oh, that's an old one.
Wrong. You didn't bring up the new one?
Was there a new one?
Yes, of course. That's what
Uh-oh.
setting up means.
Oh well. Browse.
That one.
Wait, Larry, share. Let's build a game. It's
okay. There.
okay.
That's
Done.
All right. So much for
It's
being
too big.
set up. Oh well, then we'll just
Yeah.
not worry about it.
Yeah, I'm doing this live.
Yes. Well, I know. They could see how well we work together.
Ta-da!
Yes.
Lock. Where's the lock? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, could go.
Okay, well, that was fun.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. This is Lori and Corey.
Lori. That's the Corey. Yes, indeed.
One of us is one, the other is the other.
Yes, indeed. And we are professional game designers.
That's right.
Yes, of course we are.
When people used to talk to me about their frustrations where they had applied for a job at Sierra, another game company, and didn't get a response back, I explained to them, never make the mistake of assuming that anybody in the game industry isn't a professional. And I usually added, including me.
Yeah, and honestly, it seems like that's the universal message now. Let's just say nobody is a professional in this world, and they're all amateurs, so watch yourselves.
We are building a game today. That's
Yes,
what we're here for.
That is, well, actually, we aren't. You are.
You're building a game. We're moderating.
Yes, we're going to.
Okay, here's our Build a Game workshop live stream.
And that is what we are going to do.
Let's create our own game together.
People are going to do.
So we did something like this once before, and it was for one of the very first of the Computer Game Developer Conferences.
It wasn't one of the very first.
Yes, it was. It was in the within the first 5 years.
Well, yes,
of
but
GDC.
It was already in a fancy smancy.
It was
hotel.
in a hotel. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was
in
not in the
San Jose, California.
Yes, indeed.
Hilton, I think.
Could be.
And we did this workshop where we had quite a few people. We had like 50
We
people.
had a full house. Yes, of a small room, but a full house.
It was a crowded small room.
No, I'm underprepared. No, that's okay. You don't need anything to prepare for this.
Yeah, everybody knows it. Just anybody can design a game.
Yes, Silicon Valley Central at the time when Silicon Valley was still a thing. Yes. Yay, game making time. Hi, everyone. Yes.
Whee!
All right.
Whee.
So you've heard of a Build-A-Bear or a Build-A-Lightsaber or Build a Robot workshop, which they had actually at Disneyland this year. You could build your own little mini robot, customize it. So we decided we'll do a Build-A-Game workshop.
Whereas I thought we should make a game because it would be like, let's make a game instead of let's make a deal.
Yes, but we aren't doing it.
But we're going to build a game.
Quest for Glory.
So you want to build a game.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the idea here is that anybody can come up with an idea for a game or many ideas for a game.
Yes, you could build your own Wally. You want something. Yes, exactly.
Actually, building them is hard, but fortunately, we're not going to do the hard part today.
Yes, we're going to do the fun part today. This is the good stuff. Ideas are easy, execution is hard. Yes, indeed, and we're going to do a lot of ideas.
Well, not only is execution hard, but execution is what makes the ideas. So if you take the identical game proposal, assuming it's just like, a few paragraphs of describing the idea, and you hand it out to 50 different game developer shops, each one of them will come up with a completely different, unique game.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 of them will be similar. So it's all about the implementation. But we're not here to talk about implementation much.
So really we're here to build a game proposal workshop. So we want you to propose a game for us.
So should we bring this up?
Yeah, what? No, they don't need to see it. Well, we're going to just read through it. We have proposed many games over the years. We are really good at proposing games.
Many of them in one year.
Why did you show that screen for?
Oh, because I changed it once upon a time.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Video capture device. Configure to. No, it's not the right one.
I don't know what you're trying to do.
Screen capture.
Screen capture. You want to capture
let's change
that
to screen 1.
Okay, done. All right.
Oh, there we go. Okay, you guys can't read that anyway.
Yeah, really. You could change the font to Arial to Verdana and up to 12, and that will make a big difference.
Verdana?
No, Arial.
Arial.
There. Verdana. That's a slightly more readable text for
And we'll make it 14.
14. Yeah, there we go. Now you can start to read it.
Okay. So here's a font. So
This is a list of many, many proposals we made over the years, and this is just part of them.
the Hero's Quest isn't in here because we'd already succeeded with Hero's Quest
Yes.
at this point.
Yes.
But Quest for Glory 4 was on this list at one point. I've got. Okay, so why don't you talk about each of those?
Let's see. If you could just shift the quirk a little to the left, the perfect sizes for this, but the wrong placement. I see. Okay. We did Catwoman, Night of the Cat, using the.
This is still too small to read.
That's okay. They got that.
Oh, that's
on
true. They got the
across
whole
their
screen. They're not on a
They're
little
not
tiny
itty-bitty
screen like we have.
Yes. Basically, using Catwoman was your main character. You play her as she tries to stop a madman from trying to become the reincarnation of Amenhotep, and basically, Batman does show up at the.
And
No, in the middle, but he's only a side character. You're the real star of the show, so yeah.
And we had Duck Dodgers of the 24th and a half century in Spaced Out.
Yes.
And I don't remember anything about it, do you?
Well, it was one. We were proposing something for the company down south that actually bought your Bob Heitman's company.
Okay, which was Legacy Software.
Okay, Legacy Software. We proposed this as a comedy action game. Then we did Close Encounters, a multiplayer game of exploration and arcade action. So a very different style of game, which actually involved player houses that they could customize and interact with other people and buy stuff off of them. So that was way early before that became a thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Asian Waste says there was a recent court case
Yeah.
as determined by the font a claimant used in a forged document. Calibri did not exist before the date that was on the document.
That was good documentation.
That was good sleuthing.
Yeah.
I guess
Okay.
I can turn off my
Good for that.
phone.
Yes. The world doesn't have enough RPG adventures. Yes. Catwoman and the Mummy? Yeah, well, actually it was Catwoman versus an idiot that thought he was the reincarnation of somebody and tries to steal the precious coin that he has, or precious little item that he has in the meantime. So you worked with Marvel and DC, Warner Brothers and Disney, huh? We worked with people who had licenses for those things at one time or another.
Yeah, at one point we were going to do...
Not Disney, though. We didn't get Disney's rights. Warner Brothers, though.
Spider-Man was Marvel?
Marvel, yes.
Okay, so we worked with a company that had a Marvel license and wanted us to design a Marvel game for them. So we said, sure, well, we got a great idea based on Spider-Man. And they said, oh no, we don't have rights to Spider-Man.
Actually, this was Brighter Child, and it was just me.
Yes.
That was me. You couldn't be on that one. You
Oh,
were
okay.
working somewhere else.
I was working, but anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh, we'll do the fantastic. I went through. They gave me a list of all the heroes Marvel had, including a beautiful book full of colored pictures of them all. And you can't use that one. Oh, you can't use that one. Oh, maybe we got.
Yeah, there's already a game on based on that one, and
Yeah.
so.
Finally got down to the Fantastic Four, and
Which as a kid, I loved the Fantastic
right,
Four.
I did too. So that would have been good, but then you can't actually play the Fantastic Four.
Well,
So
because
the player couldn't control them, and
was it the Hulk? I think that was
not the Hulk. You're in the
thing.
Oh, Fantastic, huh?
Yeah, Fantastic Four.
But no, the Thing.
Yeah, it was Thing. Oh, it was Thing. Okay.
It was Thing, not
And
Hulk.
Thing we couldn't use because of so we could use Fantastic Four, but not all of them.
Yes, the Human Torch was played by Chris Evans before he was in Captain America in what is not considered to be a particularly good movie. And So far, the Fantastic Four have not had any movies that were highly rated. Let's see. What else did we do? With True Spies, The Spy Who Clubbed Me.
Yeah, that was going to be a comedy spy adventure.
Yeah. Jericho 1.
I think I described it as James Bond meets Spy versus Spy.
Yeah, that would have been that style. Jericho 1 with multiplayer science fiction dungeon crawl with fascinating, believable party members, one of which is going to betray you at some point.
We had a fairly long write-up on True Spies, and the villain, or one of the characters in it was MacGuffin, which I thought was funny in context of MacGuffin's curse that we did last stream.
We would have used MacGuffin as a character for far before MacGuffin's curse. Yep. Because, we all like these things.
Yeah, Jericho 1 was one that we were really excited about. Was that the one on the board of the spaceship? Let's see. So we had Space Station
Naglfar was
which one was Jericho 1?
It's a different one. I have to actually go.
Yeah, we'd have to go see. It was a multiplayer science fiction dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
So we had four or five different science fiction suggestions. We thought that fantasy had been done to death. It was time to do more science fiction. So Survival on Sigma 7 would have been really interesting. It was the idea that you were on a diplomatic mission. You were on a shuttlecraft that something went wrong in the shuttlecraft and it crashed onto Planet Sigma 7. And it's basically a mystery thing where you would choose who's your party, and then like in a live action role-playing game, a LARP, that each character would have their own motivations and get their secret character background from the game master, but they're all NPCs. But the idea is that in most of the scenarios, one of them would be a traitor, and it would be your job to try and figure out who was the traitor and survive. Space Station Naglfar was set aboard a space station. And I think it had a similar theme.
No. It was where most everybody was destroyed. And
okay, most of the people on board were dead.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out what was going on and how to survive again.
Yeah. Have you ever tried building a mystery game like Colonel's Bequest? No, but actually...
sort of. We're talking about it.
We've talked about it, and honestly, somebody once asked us if we were ever having to do a game, one of the other Sierra games, and actually designed for another franchise from Sierra. It would have been Laura Bow, and
yes, that was our answer to what we would have done. Actually, I think Tunguska Adventure was one of the ones I was most excited about, and that would have been similar to the X-Files, but I think we designed it before we ever saw the X-Files. Maybe not.
It didn't matter.
But the idea was the Tunguska event, where something, which might have been a giant meteor, might have been a spaceship or something else.
Might have been antimatter, if you read all the various things.
Basically, went through Siberia and did massive amounts of destruction, leveled forests and stuff like that. And so this would be basically investigating the Tunguska site and trying to find out what had gone there. And it would have been like some of the later X-Files where they actually went in and found, the secret base under the Siberians and stuff. So that would have been pretty cool. And then later on, years later, there actually has been a Tunguska game done. I don't know if it's any good. How hot was Queen Isabella? Not at all.
Yeah, really.
She was a cold biatch.
That's it. Yes, The Prince strategy RPG in which you play a merchant prince from
Machiavelli.
And what you do is you've got a board with chess pieces, and every time you move a piece on the chess piece, that piece comes to life. That's the actual character that the player is playing. So then you've had a mini little game, a mini scenario with that character as your main character, and your idea is to win that chess match.
But the most exciting one that we never got serious about was Vicky's Secrets. That was going to be a collaboration between Laurie and Gino Hain, who was co-author of EcoQuest, along with Jane Jensen. And the idea was that your friend Vicky, who was a stewardess, you went to visit her and discovered a note on the door that she was out flying somewhere, but you were welcome to use her apartment. And while you're there,
every time you know, she's got a lot of different kinds of hats and all sort of thing, and you try on some of her clothes, and every piece of clothing that you put on suddenly gives you this little mini fantasy about who this person is with this clothing on, and what romance they can get in, and it's all about, you know,
bodice
ripper fiction.
Yeah.
And so it would have been.
So, for instance, if you put on the pirate hat, then you end up as a pirate maid.
Yes.
Kind of
So
thing.
it was all romantic fantasies. So we really thought that hadn't been explored too much.
And we thought maybe we could get a funding from Victoria's Secret to do it.
Yeah. Well, or at least a tie-in, because it was all about
Clothes.
Yep.
Spy parody as a genre is not done enough. We had No One Lives Forever, but that franchise was short-lived. It didn't live forever.
No, it didn't. And then we did Wanted Dead or Alive, which was our Western fantasy game. And so...
Thimbleweed Park, as Amatra says, was made as if it was an episode of The X-Files.
Yeah. So we're very experienced. We've got the proposal down.
Yeah, we made lots and lots of proposals, most of which never went anywhere.
Right. So, but as you say, ideas are easy. Implementation, that's the trick. So we're going to give you the easy part. We are going to let you design a game. The objective is every participant will be able to create a game proposal at the end of the session and submit it to a publisher.
We won't retain any rights to it whatsoever.
No.
Of course, we could be the publisher, and
Yes.
then that gets into the question of...
well, we'll talk about that afterwards, because yes, we can be the publisher.
We could be the publisher.
All right. That's why you could submit it to a publisher who will actually listen to your proposal.
So when we were in high school, we learned about the 5 W's of journalism. What, where, when, who, and why, on that order.
Yeah.
Who, what, where, when, and why. And then they end on how to that. And we have here www.HWH.
Yes, those are our W's for
That's
the
our
day.
5 W's are what, where, and when. Who, what, how, why, how.
Yes, and that's what we're going to do.
How.
Yes. And so the first W is what? What kind of game?
So, let's bring up a poll which might or might not work. And I'll have to reset this one. Nope, not that. How do I delete all those?
Doesn't I guess
There
you
must
have
be
to,
some way to...
well,
thought-
just start the poll over.
Oh, that's not the poll we want.
I know.
Voting on setting. Option. Oh, come on. There's got to be a way to delete votes.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. Remove all.
okay. All right. Fine.
Yeah, I removed all the
Yes.
votes. Okay, so this is going to be what
What
kind
kind
of...
of game?
With an extra capital H.
Right. So, yes.
Option 1 would be arcade.
arcade, yeah.
That's option 0, because no, we won't pick that.
Right.
Okay, what are the actual ones you had?
Adventure. An adventure.
Adventure game.
Now you guys can submit it too. You're supposed to be interactive.
Oh yeah, go type things in if you
Yes,
want different
right,
types other than
yes,
what we put
we'll
here.
give it in the
RPG,
standards. Yes.
interactive fiction,
Uh-huh. And if there's anything else you want to put up,
and other.
yes. That'll hit.
That'll cover everything.
Yeah.
So we'll have you pick from this poll if this works. Max votes for user 1. Oops, stop. Hold on.
Allow multi-voting.
Allow multi-voting. Max votes per user. I don't know.
What? You can, you two at best.
All right,
Vote.
you
You
can
don't
do-
want to,
You can do it. Most 2 votes.
Yeah. That way we can have it could be an adventure RPG or an arcade RPG or an interaction fiction arcade game. That would be different. So, place your votes and let's see what we're doing. It's like spin the wheel. We have no idea what kind of game we're making.
We think that Quest for Glory counts as RPG adventure.
Yes.
It was a crossover.
So, therefore, you would pick RPG adventure.
Somebody said platformer.
Oh, platformer.
Is that different than arcade?
Yes.
Let's. If you want a platformer, put it
Put
arcade.
it in arcade, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you can vote both times if you want an adventure game RPG.
Yeah, if you wanted an RPG arcade game, you can do that.
Yes, vote 1.5 won't get registered with this system because we don't do the math. They do.
Kettle Co, you can vote twice, once for vote 1 and once for vote 2.
Yeah.
At the moment, we have a lot of votes for vote 1, so
Yeah.
I think people, for some reason, people that stream like adventure game. Now, you know that Lori and I are not actually big adventure game fans. We're going to reveal our secrets if we have any more of this document showing.
Oh no! Oh no! Yes, and they'll figure out what's going on.
I did play in like Colossal Cave Adventure. I played and got stuck on Zork, the original mainframe Zork, which was much bigger than the personal computer Zork. And after that, we didn't play too many adventures. Asian Waste says.
The one I can see has some promises. Vicky's Secret as an interactive fiction.
That would be much less graphically intense. Questions, would it work? You could maybe do it.
Oh, yeah, it could work easily.
You could do it with the vignette style.
Yeah.
So you don't actually animate your character
It's
walking around.
interactive fiction doesn't interact. Does not.
No, I
have
think
any-
it must have graphics.
Well, no, but it doesn't have animation.
Right.
It has minimal animations.
Yeah,
and
but
yes,
so
you
it would
can.
have stills of
Yeah.
of the outfit.
Yes, it would be easier to make. So that would be a legitimate thing. Okay. Is an adventure RPG a 1 or plus 2? It's a 1 plus 2. Yes. Okay, so anybody else want to put their vote to the test? Otherwise, we'll end this and come up with our genre.
Do.
Well, actually, our
All right, stop.
game style.
Thumbs up, says somebody.
Yay.
And the winner is adventure game with 4 votes, but RPG is a close second with 3 votes.
Yeah.
So I think we do need to make an adventure RPG here.
All right.
But this will be a game that is slightly more emphasizing the adventure side than the RPG side.
So we're back to Quest for Glory style game.
What a surprise and coincidence.
Yes, I need. Golden Drake says, I need to run, but this is a fun activity. I hope you all have a great time. Cheers, goals, and chat. Thank you, Golden Drake, for showing up.
4 adventure, 3 RPG, and 1 for interactive fiction.
All right. So the next W for this from this list is where. Where is it set? What time period?
So it's a where and a what?
It is. It's a where and a what.
Or no, it's not. It's a where and a when.
When, yes.
Where
was
and when.
Where and when is this?
Because I don't think we had any other whens in here.
No, we don't. This answers the when.
Yes, this
but
is
first we ask genre.
okay.
So
Go back to a poll
yeah, go back to a poll.
over there.
So yeah, back to the poll.
So we want to right click
Right click and do
and remove all.
remove all. Yes, we figured out the interface finally. Only
What?
took us 10 years
Setting.
or 3. No, not setting. Genre first.
Oh,
what is the
what genre?
genre? All right,
That's a fancy word.
it is.
Okay, I'm just looking at whether this is a complete enough set. Yeah, it's
Well,
sort of.
anybody that if you've got any genre that doesn't make this with it, we don't talk about. You put it.
All right, we'll make other be 0. Okay, we'll have
Sci-fi.
Skiffy. If it tastes like Skiffy, then it must be peanut. No.
Fantasy. Had horror.
Did we ever mention that I'm too slow a typist to be doing this?
You're faster than I am.
Alternate
history. And
Modern.
modern.
Boom.
Okay.
Allow multi-voting. 2 votes maximum.
All right. What kind of game? Where do you want this? What kind of style game do you want?
Yes. What is this?
What is the genre? Are we doing a horror? Are we doing a? Now you can vote.
No, we didn't have real history.
We don't really want.
Alternate history might, for instance, include things like the Parasol Protectorate. That's a vampire and werewolf fantasy set in steampunk London.
No, because it's not an alternate history. That doesn't make
Not a
that. That's
fantasy?
a fantasy, pure fantasy.
All right.
Steampunk, all the other punks, cyberpunk, those fit into
These
their
aren't
own
on separate lines.
classifications. Yeah. Huh?
These aren't on separate
No,
lines.
they
It'll be
aren't.
hard
They
for me to
weren't
put numbers
designed.
on
They
them.
don't need the numbers, do they? We don't-
Okay, are we closing this poll?
I figure modern fantasy would be an urban fantasy. Yes, exactly.
And world set up much like The Longest Journey. I'm a sucker for that shtick.
Okay.
Um,
Yes. Modern fantasy.
Ellen,
urban fantasy.
our friend Ellen Guan Beeman, and co-wrote with Mercedes Lackey, aka Misty Lackey, a series set at the place where they used to hold the Southern California Renaissance Fair,
Yeah,
and it was
Woods.
urban elf fantasy. Okay, I'm going to stop this because nobody's typed anything
Yes,
for a while.
yes. Gloriana is covered by fantasy.
Okay, here's our votes. Winning option, fantasy with 3, but it was close because we had science fiction 1.
Whoa.
No,
Oh,
2.
oh.
Last minute vote came in?
Mm.
How did a 2 come in? I thought, because I'm looking, it was
You're
option
looking
1.
at the numbers. Yes. That's
All
what I
right,
was doing.
fantasy got 3 votes.
Uh-huh.
Nobody wanted horror. And I'll talk about horror in a moment. And modern got 2. That's didn't work very well.
Doesn't matter, Corey. It's not like we're going to save this document.
There.
Or-
Okay.
Well, but, it's not.
There's our votes. Science
Okay.
fiction. So fantasy is the winner with science fiction, modern, close alternates. And we might try some sort of
Okay.
hybrid of that, but
All
it's
right.
better to pick one.
Nah. We never do anything easy. It sounds like what you really want is a,
If I were a game producer and you were coming to me, I would say, stop trying to mix genres. Stop.
yes, right.
Pick your genre or no one will
It
ever
sounds
play
like
it.
you could do sort of like Road to Redemption, which has steampunk elements in it, but it's definitely fantasy. So you can add a few more, steampunk stuff to it. Okay. So,
Star Wars is science fantasy, yes.
yes, exactly.
Belkstar says, I like the Elemental Masters series by Mercedes Lackey. I have not read those.
Yeah.
We've really only read her earlier work,
Yes.
the ones that have horses and stuff.
Yeah, we read that work. All right, sci-fantasy. That's basically Final Fantasy 6, 7, and 8, plus a few other... what was that other JRPG, the early JRPG, which was more
There was
science
a
fiction?
Phantasy Star.
Phantasy Star, which was misnamed because it really was science fiction.
It was really science
Yeah.
fiction, yes.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Voldemort, yes. The
thank
Voldemort
you.
series.
Yes, we read those.
We read the first ones of those.
Okay.
I'm sure she did more later.
Yes, we just didn't finish off.
So I don't know if we actually have our genre set well enough because 322, that's kind of close.
Yeah, but we do. Now, the location.
It's fantasy, but maybe modified fantasy.
Right. I mean, genre and fantasy can be a lot of things,
Okay, I don't know if we can ask an open-ended question.
No, we.
Where do you want it set? Should we just ask that open-ended?
Ask that as an open-ended question.
Where should we set the fantasy game?
Phantasy Star is
As-
very sci-fantasy. Star Ocean, which is much more science fiction, but has a lot of fantasy trappings, yes. Okay, so now it's up to you to provide some possibilities, and then we'll vote on them. And it can be the Gloriana style places that are, fantasy equivalents of different places like Persia or Africa, which is a very broad thing. Egypt.
Yeah, and this is not...
India.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you want your game to be set? This really does, yes, alternate history, yeah.
And this is not strictly, a fun exercise. This is something we go through every time we make a game. We ask ourselves this kind of question, and some of it's pretty sad. Like, Sierra would say, "We want you to make another Quest for Glory," and so that kind of restricted it quite a bit. But after the second Quest for Glory, they said, "We want you to propose an educational game." And it was that open-ended, any kind of educational entertainment game.
Yeah, let's find some original places to do, or You know, a moon colony because we're back to science fiction fantasy. You know, it doesn't actually.
Countryside.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. You know, so pastoral
Yeah.
as opposed to city.
Yes, that's what we don't.
That's
have
relevant. It's because it's you know, as opposed to city, it's a countryside game.
We don't. Yes, the one question we don't have on here yet is the tone. We don't have tone.
Ooh.
And
Well, we're screwed then.
yeah, I know. Where should we put tone? It doesn't actually fit in the W's, does it? Put it under what location, and under that is tone, because we do need to discuss it fairly soon.
Yeah, because you won't win a Tony Award unless you've got tone.
Yes, distant planet, still in the feudal age, but has unknown sciences perceived as sciences. PCs are science officers from more developed galaxies, infiltrating the planet to uncover the secrets of magic. That's
I like that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that. It's like the meme, if you've ever seen the meme in Facebook of people dressed as Star Trek officers going to Ren fairs and then doing as if they're, you know, exploring this planet of Ren Fair. So,
Which is a very strange planet.
yes. I've always been amazed by magic words, where magic and technology...
Or
worlds. Oh, okay, fine. Where magic and technology combines. The how modern and ancient connect in many countries. Japan being one example of a merge of old and new. Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember the author's name now, but Shogun and Noble House, James something.
Clavel.
James Clavell. Thank you. James Clavell's books were really interesting because they gave you a feel for feudal Japan, and then we read Noble House, which was actually set in, I think, the 19th century.
Yeah, it was 1930s, wasn't it?
Oh, was it that late?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was late. But
Late.
I can remember. Yeah.
It was late 19th, early 20th century.
Okay, that's a really good point about tone. Space Quest could easily be done straight without its tone, and it veered into horror. To me, a lot of the, you know, that one Space Quest with
Yeah, Space Quest 4 or 5, where they had
Well,
the guy
they-
with
yeah.
the eyes pried
Yes.
open and such.
yeah, that could be, you know, science fiction horror, except that they kept the comedy.
Now, we
But
will
it
note
wasn't
that there were
funny.
no votes for horror in this panel, which goes along with Lori and me. Is we don't really get into being grossed out
Right.
or horrified or
But
scared.
we all liked Quest for Glory 4, so, you know, we can have those things.
Thank
I
you.
like the idea of maybe incorporating the idea of true names, like, say, the Earthsea series. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Cyborg in Quest for Glory 4 and that Scream. Yeah.
So, did we get enough locations to put into a poll?
Well, yeah, kind of. Distant planet in the feudal age. That's a possibility. The cute countryside, yes. And then we can just put those: South America, Oceania, or Africa. Those will work. I mean, we can put a poll.
So, in South America, you've got, you know, the Inca or the Aztec mythology,
Or
and someone
Mayan.
could come into it. Or Mayan, wasn't that part of Aztecs?
No,
No?
the different
Totally
culture.
separate.
So
I
yes, South America has a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's why they had the Indiana Jones and you know, the temple with the.
And Africa, I mean, Egypt has been, you know, vaguely used but not too much in games. And you know, you can always do the Indiana Jones style game of going through and being an archaeologist. So yeah, there's also, you know.
Yeah, we use the word adventure, but you know, when most people think about adventure, they don't think about Sierra-style adventure games. They think about an Indiana Jones film as
Yes.
being an adventure.
Yes.
So maybe we should have differentiated there.
Sub-Saharan Africa could be. We could be through, you know, exploring the, you know, the jungles of Africa, or a Tarzan-like game.
Well, I have a personal preference among these, but this isn't
Yes,
about
this is
me.
Yeah, so you should set up a poll and let people. Fate of Atlantis had a great variety of. It did it. That was one of our favorite games.
Okay, so locations.
South America.
Oceania.
I mean, Under the Sea. How
Under the
about
Sea.
yes? How about
Well, they did that for. They did a game like that. One of the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
no? Well, yes, but it wasn't really Under the Sea.
Yes,
Oh,
much,
was it?
much of the game was under the sea.
I
Yes.
didn't remember that. But it wasn't a fantasy. It was a realistic fantasy.
Good Countryside would need further.
Yes, but that's okay. You guys can define it. Distant planet. Feudal society. Feudal what with magic? Feudal with magic.
Okay, feudal with magic. And who your character is? You said you are science officers for more developed galaxies. That will come into a different topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Planet
You could replace Atlantis with you. Yes. Yes.
magic meets science.
Okay.
Did we have any others here? Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
We had Africa already.
Okay.
Okay. Is that good?
I'm assuming that Oceania is really. Oh, what is Oceania? I was just
I have
thinking.
no idea. I think that's New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, okay. Ooh,
So-
Australia. How about that? There you go. Scary, scary place.
This is,
Techno sorcery is a term. Yes, that's a good term for it. We can.
and then we'll have Under the Sea.
Well, Mew. Somebody can find it as Mew. Okay. Fine. Now you.
All
have
right, now I got to type all those in again.
Yes, you have
I
to.
just typed these in
You did. That's why you didn't do it in this style. I don't know.
because I need to put the results here anyway,
Okay.
and I can copy and paste
You
because
can, because you can.
location.
Also, the Polynesian Islands. Ah, yes. Those are locations. Okay. Includes, yes, exactly. Under the Sea. Is a Jamaican singing crab required?
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
Maybe. We'll work that out.
Atlantida or Antarctica. Okay. Those are good.
Good Countryside. We'd have to specify that one more, but it's a start.
Yeah. If they vote for that, then we
Not city.
didn't have to put that.
All right, fine.
Just-
Move Under the Sea.
Yes, and Africa is such a broad term, but we can narrow it down afterwards. Because, after all, Africa is bigger than North America. It has many cultures.
Master of the Five Magics is sort of set on a distant planet.
Uh-huh.
Planet where magic meets science. What was that about typing fast? Okay,
Okay.
was I adding more to these that you just said?
I don't know. I guess that's it. That's a good choice.
All right, it's good enough. Anyone can vote for two of these.
Yep. And let's see.
I have just been rereading Lyndon Hardy's Master of the Five Magic series. So he had 3 books originally, Secret of the Sixth Magic and Realm of the Sixth Magic, and something of the Seventh. And he had 3 later books that he did in the series that were Children of the Archimage from the Daughter of the Archimage, the first book. The Archimage's 4th daughter was the 4th book, I think. So what do you guys think about this process so far? Is this interesting to you? Should we do this more than once? Well, I'll say it again at the end.
Yes. Once it's done, you get the the evaluations at the end, of course.
And of course, you know what they say about design by committee. That's how you come up with a camel.
Well, we did, as we said, something like this many, many years ago at the Game Developers Conference. And
Should we reveal any of the secrets of what they came up with?
well, we're talking, so might as well talk.
Oh, okay. Well, they had a great fascination with small farm animals. and with
We went keywords with this.
yeah,
So
evil televangelists
yes.
was one of the keywords
Yes,
that came
but
up with.
the evil televangelists were our villains.
Okay, I don't know how to. Oh, well, actually, we can because this can merge into either of the other two. Okay, I'm going to stop the voting. 3, 2, 1, stop. So, we have a tie. Cute Countryside, Distant Planet, Funeral of Magic, and Planet Where Magic Meets Science.
Well, okay, so we are in a countryside on a distant planet.
Yep. So.
It is. I often thought of games that would be fun, and this is helpful to see how to put down an idea with specifics. An adventure game featuring the amazing Randy debunking televangelist would be hilarious.
If we were going to put in Cute Countryside, not City, we should have had City.
Well, only if anybody wanted it. Yeah. All right. So,
isn't this fun? Another cough that I've had for 2 months.
Yeah. A bit of all of those could work well. Yeah, really. Okay, so now we have to come up with the tone.
Because...
All right, that was pretty...
There's 4 tones.
Yeah, 4 tones. So, do we want this to be a serious...
amazing Randy debunking televangelist.
Yeah, that would be...
I actually supported a Kickstarter that was called An Honest Liar. It was the story of the amazing Randy.
Yeah. B flat. Yes, I vote for... I see.
I'm flat a lot, thank you.
Yeah. You should also add the question, should we have John Rhys Davies? That question comes later. Let's put it this way, this man narrator.
Okay, so tones.
The documentary was great and came exactly before his death, yes. The standard description of modern magicians. Liars, but honest about it. I have his book, Flim Flam, on my shelf. Cool, so, yeah. And, speaking of magic, we were at Disneyland and went into the magic shop there. And they honestly showed us a trick we'd never seen before with cards that, we couldn't tell how he did it, so it was pretty cool that they still have that kind of...
Scary could be a tone, but I don't think we need it
say,
since we didn't have humorous.
Well...
since we didn't have horror.
Well, yeah, but scary can be scary without being horror. And we're slightly in a... what else is there?
What else could there be?
Mysterious.
Oh, mysterious.
We can turn this into a mystery science fiction fantasy.
No,
there. Suspense versus thriller versus horror. And adventure, adventurous, where your exploration. I mean,
I don't know, is that a tone?
That isn't really a tone. We can take it out. Fine.
Is adventurous a tone?
No. All right. I guess
exciting.
Exciting, yeah.
Although that's kind of...
Well, that means
that's sort of like fun is one of those words that as many
Whimsy magic makes the absurd logic. Yes, well, that goes into our humorous. Okay, there you go.
Okay, I have a slightly humorous or downright silly.
Little guy versus a man. That's coming up, too. All right, so what do you want for a tone? What kind of game do you want to play here? Yes, and since you can vote too, I mean, these tones can be mixed and matched. Again. And the next question will be, who is our protagonist and how does it fit into this situation? Usually, you'd think you'd start with the hero first. But honestly,
you'll note that we haven't even gotten to the hero yet because you can't really come up with the hero until you have a setting. So if you have the Arabian Nights, then you could say, do we have are you playing as Aladdin, as a genie, as a princess, as a rock,
Yeah. So, but you wouldn't have the Space Explorer in that genre.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a Spaceman Spiff.
Or Spider-Man. So, by defining your location, your genre, and your tone first, you create the character that fits into that world effectively.
Okay. Now we can stop it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I should stop coughing.
Yeah. All right, we have a mysterious, slightly humorous game, which
Which is somewhat uplifting.
yes, well, somewhat. Okay, so not a downer. I like that.
Definitely not a downer. It's not a sad game. It's not designed to be exciting.
Yes, this sounds
It's
like
not-
some episodes of the X-Files as opposed to those that grosses you entirely out and you'll never forget in your nightmares, and other ones that were entertaining.
Yeah, I would say the Quest for Glory was a slightly humorous game.
Yes.
And with Hero U, we went more to the downright silly. But it's somewhere in between.
Yeah. And so we're going to have a mystery. Okay, a mystery on our hands. This is going to be interesting.
Yes, I was thinking this sounded a whole lot like a certain game that we were talking about making.
Okay. Which one?
The Consulting Magicians game.
Oh no,
No,
because
but
we're in a
we
science
don't.
fiction.
That wasn't in a
Yes.
distant planet.
And we're going to be mixing science. We're going to be mixing the science into
science and
magic,
fantasy.
but it is
Science and magic.
So we have a world that is more opened than what saying it in Persia would be. We can, but we've got a feudal society.
That's what we left out. We left out future.
That's
For time
true.
period.
Time period, yeah.
Oops.
Well, we came with a distant
Science
planet.
fiction. I guess science fiction
Science
was
fiction
future.
is kind of future, yeah.
But science fiction isn't necessarily
And it
future.
can be alternate history. It could be the future. Remember.
So looking at our genres, number one was fantasy, but we had just behind it were both science fiction and modern. So this is starting to shape up. We're on another planet, but it's going to be a little bit more of a magic feel than scientific.
Because it's feudal, so we have people living under a ruler, and there's a mystery coming up that we will find, and then the most important question at this point.
I guess lighthearted is the way I would
Lighthearted
say.
would-
Slightly
yeah.
humorous and somewhat uplifting, I think, is lighthearted.
Okay. Who's our hero?
Oh, yeah, now we finally get to that.
The important question.
Okay, so Lori's choices for the protagonist were... Read those.
All right. First person avatar. This is the Quest for Glory premise of you being the hero, and you are in total charge of that character, and you determine what he does and who he says, how he says things, because we don't bother to put things in your mouth. And games like Quest for Glory is the example of that style of game.
In fact, in Ultima, he was called the Avatar.
Yes. And he didn't say a whole lot in that game. All right. Maybe you want a choice of characters. Maybe you want to be able to choose a male or a female protagonist. Maybe you want to choose from a set of character classes. You want to play the rogue or the magic user or the thief. Or maybe you want to choose between species. Maybe you want to be a kata or a doggy or a centaur. So maybe you want those choices for your players.
I call specific main character named.
Named main character, fine.
Yeah.
Or we could have multiple main characters that you switch off between. We've proposed that in the past. Games that had several characters, and actually it's our plan for Hero U number 5, in which you'd play Sean or you'd play Nona, or you'd play at different points of the game. You would shift between different characters who were getting different parts of the story and then playing it that way.
People saying Hero U was very punny, and OSU's Brainiac saying very could be considered an understatement. If you actually go back and look at the game, the dialogue is mostly serious. The dialogue is straight until you get to like game
certain
5.
characters.
Certain characters,
Certain characters have always been.
No Man or Putty Bones. Of course, your dialogue is totally ridiculous and silly.
Keep on laughing. If you put any known character in the whole game,
But with most of the characters, it's pretty serious, and the silliness comes from interactions with objects, and that's just really descriptions.
Henry, the Hermit, those things. There was always humorous characters in all of the games. Okay, fine. Let's see. Maybe we have a specific main character, or that's a game like Monkey Island where you play Guybrush Threepwood, or Hero U Road to Redemption where you play Sean. So it has a specific character with his own personality that you are in control of. So then,
Zamandra says,
yeah, specific characters is a bit dangerous. The moment the player feels disconnected from the character, then the player would lose interest. Exactly. It is very difficult to handle specific players. And I would have said it was probably not a good way to go about it because you're frustrated when that character acts out of character as you see it fit. But it was pulled off with Monkey Island. Whether I liked the character Guybrush, I didn't like Guybrush in the later games, and I did not play the later games. So tricky.
They pointed out. Laurie basically doesn't like books where where the main characters, movies or books or games, where the main character is not sympathetic and someone that she can identify with and like.
Yes, and I don't like it when they make decisions that are stupid. So, yeah.
But I do like the occasional anti-hero.
Ooh, one character who's able to use modern technology to disguise themselves to assume multiple identities. Best of all worlds. Yes, exactly. I wanted to put that into the game that Corey was supposed to be directing. Puzzleworthy. Yes, that you had a character switcher, a machine that swapped the DNA of the various samples of DNA.
Yeah, and it basically had animals and aliens, and that effectively you would be put into the body effectively of one of the other species, and you would solve puzzles in different ways.
Would all require a different body to solve.
Yeah, so Sydney suggested, for instance, you could have like a maze that you have to get into like a rat form in order to be able to traverse the maze.
The pipes and things like that as a rat, yes. Journeyman Project 3, Legacy of Time. The chameleon jumpsuit lets you put on guises appropriate to each time zone. That's cool, yeah. Asian Waif. Well, that is similar to Maniac Mansion in the sense that you can manage multiple characters, yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's why we had multiple characters as an option.
And it's an interesting dynamic and allows for some interesting puzzles towards the end. Exactly.
So we have very few votes on this. So either you're all getting burned out or
you're all fascinated with the possibilities of talking about this.
Yeah.
Because all of these alter the entire complexity of the game. They define the game by figuring out what person you want. What person should the player play? And the problem with things like specific main characters are already addressed. Also, does that specific main character have knowledge that the player doesn't? That's an important part that the player doesn't always know what he needs to know. And there has to be a way to let the player know.
Yeah, and the problem with first-person avatar is if you're actually showing the character on the screen, like the hero in Quest for Glory, then you've already set preconceptions by the fact that it's male, blonde. Well, that's about it.
Yeah, that was our definition.
The dialogue can be really hard to write.
Yes.
When the character is generic, you can't put words in that character's mouth as much.
And you can't do voices very well when your main character doesn't have a voice. I mean, it's just awkward. And it's also, you have the main character. When you write a story, you want a character you can create the story around because you know their personality, you know what they're going to do. And when it's an avatar style, you have to have options and you don't have any determinations. Yes, Katako is folding laundry and listening, which is why we...
That's okay.
Yeah.
The other 10 out of 10 narrator.
And that is why you hire John Rhys Davies. Yes.
The other issue with the generic character is that really the interaction, what brings the character to life, is how the other characters in the game react to them. So if you have, say, a lover interest going on, that has different connotations depending on the personality of your character. If you're a macho man and a person expresses interest in you, well, is that person male or female? What does it really say about them, the way they react to you? Whereas if you're, a quiet little bookish sort, the reactions would be different. And it's very hard to write that dialogue if you don't know who your character is.
Right, exactly. So the choice of characters, when you have a broad choice of characters that you offer the players, you're already tripling the amount of work that you have to do.
Yep.
Because you have to be able to handle things.
But clearly the winner was First Person Avatar.
Okay, so you won a Quest for Glory starred game.
But with one vote for named main character, which means somebody like Hero U.
Uh-huh.
Or Tilly's Tale.
Or any of the games that are out there, really, most games.
So yes, the reason that we went with Sean O'Connor in Hero U instead of a thief or a rogue is having Sean O'Connor being a distinct personality with a backstory, with a family, with a distinct personality, let Laurie both write his dialogue and how people interact with him, and not making it sound boring and generic.
Plus, it was a mystery, so that you could solve the mystery of what was Sean's past, and how did that past affect the present and the future. So it was a very interesting thing, and I wouldn't have thought of pulling it off that way, except for how Monkey Island did it. Yes. Okay.
Saints Row.
Saints Row went the extra mile, allowing for a personal avatar with many distinct voice sets, each their own voice dialogues, and perfectly implemented into every scene with their own unique responses. That's pretty cool.
And a lot of work.
Yeah. One design tool in interactive fiction games is that earlier choices the player picks for their care sets sets the player's personality attribute traits, which funnels the narrative towards certain conversation branches. Again, very, very tough to pull it off. Yes, it helps pick what kind of dialogue becomes available. And that is really cool. You pick an antagonistic personality, and then the dialogue switches to that line of thing.
And we did that to a modest extent in Rogue to Redemption, in that you can respond. You can basically speak intelligently, snarkily.
Yeah, we gave tone for
charmingly.
Yes.
I think those were the three we gave.
So that you could really, even though Sean was a distinct personality, you as the player really determined his style, his tone.
But we didn't really change the character throughout the game from that. Instead, we just let you keep doing it.
Yes, and Brainiac has not yet finished all the extra playthroughs for RTR. Got a few other gaming time calls keeping me from doing it now, yeah.
Don't we all?
Yes.
Sumatra said,
I have a pick with Sean's character. I love the mystery part, but the mocking parts of him made me hate him at the beginning. Yes, I get the idea was for him to grow to be able to see beyond his own things. Yeah, well, you could also choose to make him a little more charming, and you didn't have to always, make him...
Yeah, there's a lot less snark in there if you choose the charming options or something. But, I mean, it's an issue because players don't necessarily know whether they're going to like something.
Yes.
So they pick choices, and then they don't like the choice.
That was what...
it made it hard to go back.
Yeah.
In games like Secret of Monkey Island, they allow you to take every choice in every dialogue. And in fact, in some of the puzzles, you had to take every choice. And some of them multiple times.
So, the next question
hold on. I was going to say... I don't know. Go ahead.
First person avatar. Now, the question is, who is that first person?
All right.
Because just by picking the first person avatar like we did with Quest for Glory, we had to make choices. And we had to make choices to make that first-person avatar, even though it was an avatar of all the players.
And you didn't ask
A
any
male.
questions like that.
A male. Well, I know, but these are all... Okay,
So we have a first-person avatar, but we don't know anything about them.
right. And is the player getting to, who's playing this avatar, does that player get sandwiched into a specific phenotype and sexual gender, and preference, and everything else? So,
Well, if you're not actually shown, if the game is either in text or if it's a visual, that you can do it like Doom and so on, where
yeah, you never see
you
your
never actually
character.
see your own character.
Although we've done that, we've proposed games in which you couldn't see your character, but you could look in the mirror. If you chose a female character, you would look in the mirror and you could see what your face looks like, Yes, I remember reading about the original plan being different species for each class, and that died because of space limitations.
Was that the original plan for Heroes Quest or
Heroes
something
Quest,
else?
that was Heroes Quest, yeah. Exactly. In
Now,
the end,
we have
limits
something about that a little later.
are important, exactly. Limits define and give you structure.
It is really hard to solve a problem or write a game without having some constraints on to say, here's the space in which you're working.
Here's
Because,
the budget in which you're working.
This is one of the things that people were always asking me when I was in the game industry is, how do you make these huge, big, complicated games? How do you come up with the designs for these things? And the answer is always one step at a time. You build you come up with a little tiny piece of it, and you put a whole lot of tiny building blocks together and you get the game. But if you don't have a strong plan to start with, you're going to get a bunch of disparate building blocks that don't click together. To mix a metaphor or the two there, I guess if they're Legos, they all work everywhere. But if you have like interlocking pieces, some of them lock well together and some don't.
So yeah, we called it first-person avatar, and called it Quest for Glory, but really that is not what a first-person avatar is. First-person avatar game is
It's really like
Doom,
Doom.
where you don't see your character and you just see the environment and you interact with the environment. So really now the question has to be, is this first person or third person, where you see the character on the screen and interact with objects? Because first person avatar limits what you can handle. If you think of Doom and you think of how you do things, can you imagine trying to interact with an environment by climbing a wall in first person, where all you see is a wall? It becomes visually not very interesting. Yes. How do I make something complicated? By trying to make it something simple. Exactly. I think it's important to define the role of the character in terms of the grander story's genre. If this is science fiction and fantasy, is the character belonging more to the science fiction, or is the character more from the fantasy? Exactly. These are all things we have to answer here at this point in time. Let's see. Not at all. Third person, Quest for Glory, only in stills and mirrors.
Is that different? So like you could have the character sheet.
You could have a character sheet. Okay. So this is an interesting visuals. How do we
Visible.
visible?
Visible in a mirror. I don't know. I never would have thought of that one, but since you mentioned it.
No, I had actually thought about it. Okay.
For Vicky's secret game, that's totally appropriate. You can put in the costume, look in the mirror, and see yourself.
Yeah. So yes, Vicky's Secret as an interactive fiction game, works really well. All right, so
And I'm drink.
you're out of drink. Would you like some cooling tea?
I guess so. Hot tea would be even better.
It's hot. It's still hot.
Okay, I think we're losing our audience. We're getting fewer votes on each question.
Nobody knows what to vote for, or they don't.
They're all voting for third-person QFG because they liked Quest for Glory.
Okay, yeah. Well, yes, and it is the easiest in some ways to. it's the most fun because you get to see the character
Ouch.
do things. Yes. Add honey to
Go
your
ahead.
tea. I could give you honey. You want honey in your tea?
Sure, honey.
Okay, honey.
Da 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 da.
Post people don't know that.
Honey. Da 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 da.
Sunny, Corey.
Sunny? Yeah, it's sunny. Oh well. A taste of honey. Da 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 da. I was just watching a documentary on Herb Alpert, and Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass did The Lonely Bull and all sorts of uplifting, energetic
A taste of honey.
tunes. Did you do a taste of honey? Yep. And well, pretty interesting. You think of him as Latino, and he's actually, his parents, one was from Ukraine, and the other's wasn't Romania, something like that. And he basically grew up as a Jewish kid in Los Angeles. Very shy, and we learned how to play the trumpet. He said, I can get the trumpet to speak for me. And the trumpet became his voice. Eventually came up with an idea for a song, which was sort of The Lonely Bull, except it would have been a minuet. And then he went to a bullfight in Tijuana and completely revised it and redesigned the song to, if you haven't heard The Lonely Bull, it's a wonderful tune. Check it out. Okay, well, this poll is very clear. Everybody wants third-person QFG. There's one vote for Visible in a Mirror.
Poll closed. You can no longer vote. I go to a Korean mart and they sell this jelly honey ginger tea mix. It is a cure for the common cold. It sounds pretty good.
I visited someone earlier today and they gave me some chamomile tea, and that actually helped for a while. My main problem is talking is irritating my throat.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to have Lori talk as much as possible.
My image of his ethnicity comes from the music and the Tijuana Brass. Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
You all make that assumption, although...
As did we.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I had his album, so I knew what he looked like.
One of the interesting things was when he went into the Army and he was assigned to go to band school, and he thought of himself as this hotshot trumpet player, and suddenly discovered that there were about 12 trumpet players in his class, all of which were better than him.
Yeah, so...
So that was a little...
disconcerting.
Decided he had to come up with a unique style.
All right, so we're going to go the third person with 5 votes. And are we doing all right. The question is this are we going full Quest for Glory, and so therefore we have a male protagonist?
Well...
Or a female protagonist? Or a kata protagonist? All of those do fit in there. What do you want?
Okay, so you are viewed, so...
Yeah. So we still have to do this. What
do you look like?
What do you look like? Are you Laura Bow? I mean, all of these still fit in. Male.
All right.
Female. Other. Okay. Other. No. White.
Not right?
No.
White and black, and no.
No.
But we went with the generic European, but we could just as easily have
We
gone
could, but we will
with
discuss
African
that as we
American.
go
That's a
along.
different topic.
Yeah, it's
Other.
Other. I
don't know what other
you could
means.
be transgender.
Yeah, but okay.
I mean, I'd say
That's true.
androgynous 20-something with cool style clothes. That's that can go in that. All right, people. What do you want? Androgynous could be other. Put it under other.
Yeah, put it under other for now. We may, I probably should have specified more because, when you're a humanoid animal or alien or other, that sounds like really weird. But
normally,
it doesn't have to be weird. It
have
could be normal.
People inputting these things. We're making them up, but you should be giving them to us, just like that androgynous 20-something. with cool fantasy style clothes. Sounds fun. And then we have the advantage of that. Vote for, okay. Vote alien.
Alien. Yes, you could be an alien female. You
Well,
could be.
but may never
You
come
could
up.
be an other male.
Uh-huh. That's true. You can mix and match here.
That's why you got two choices.
Yep. As you figure out what you want it to be. Although the idea that you are not native to this world, but you are the outsider looking in, always makes for a easier storytelling.
Yeah, and other, without specifying what the other is, basically says you're a misfit. You don't directly fit in the normal roles in society.
Yeah.
So you are kind of an outsider, and you're trying to, basically succeed in a place where you're not destined to succeed.
Or something like that.
So something like that.
I mean, you guys are writing
Close
this.
enough.
Those are all possibilities. We can only give you possibilities.
It's a tie. Female other.
Woo!
So androgynous female. How about?
Yeah. Since somebody mentioned shifting identities above, and I thought of JP3, I'll go with the other for that. Okay, shifting identities. Interesting.
Now androgynous. Okay, so that's male female. Towards female appearance.
And it seems like we're dealing with a humanoid, basically humanoid, and that works. Now, are we?
No, we've got one for animal, one for alien.
Yeah.
And
The next question is: are we part of this culture, or are we
an outsider.
an outsider? And that's. I mean, whether you're the scientist that's coming in and looking at this, whether you're a castaway on this strange planet.
Well, we had the suggestion specifically about the other planet with feudal magical, but you are a spacefarer.
Well, I'd say
so.
yes. Are you a scientist coming
Yeah.
into this thing? Are you a castaway on this planet trying to figure out what's going on this thing? So, do you have backup behind you? Do you have support, or are you alone and on your own? Those things really change the complexity of how you're going to write the story.
Something like that.
Are you a native? No, yeah, there's more here. Yeah. Are you the native that is finding out that there's more to the world and more to, things? So, are you the ruling class versus the peasant? What? That doesn't kind of fit that to my mind.
Well, that's your spaceship type thing.
Oh.
So visitor.
We've already said that it's kind of humanoid.
Yeah, but like if you're an Earthman visiting Antares, and whatever. Oh, what's you put in here?
Well, I said, what part of society? You're part of society, but are you the peasant or what? Are you the
Okay.
ruling class? I mean, yes. If you are an outsider, the player is with the PC is with the player, not knowing anything. You'll be learning more about the world with the character. It's a real advantage to having your character as not part of the society.
There's lots of questions.
Mm-hmm. These are all things you can talk about and think about. But yes, exactly, Asian Waste. I prefer finding the outsider kind of character coming in, the visitor coming in, all of those possibilities, because they're exploring with the player along the way.
One of the popular story starters is someone who has amnesia.
Yes.
And doesn't actually know who they are.
So the player...
And so the player can help them discover who they are through the course of gameplay. And that might actually be locked into the story of who they really are, or maybe the player defines it by their actions in the game.
So these are all
These
possibilities.
are tough questions.
They are tough questions. And it's up to you to make a choice of what you think. Yes, there's so many cool options, and each cool option defines the game, and it shifts in a different way.
And of course, over a career where you're making 10 or 20 games, you can make lots of different ones. But we have to make one game here. We're making a game.
Yeah. Amnesia is a very well-treaded trope in games because it works so well. Exactly. It's a lot of fun to do because everything's a mystery then.
And also used in movies and stories.
Yes. Or something like Heavy Rain, where the player doesn't have the backing context for the motivation of the player character, unwittingly helping them. Interesting. That's a different thing. So yes, the trick is if you're going to pick somebody that is with that planet, that knows what the culture is, knows what it is, you still have to teach it to the player in a way that doesn't sound like, oh, Joe, we're living in, being a peasant sucks, doesn't it? You know, that ruler is just so cruel.
But as the, you know...
Yep. Oh, there's a doorbell.
The doorbell.
You answer that.
Maybe I should have answered that.
No, maybe.
You can have something like Gawain, Sir Gawain, that didn't start out as a sir. He didn't start out as a knight. He started out as essentially peasant background, but you know, wanted to be a knight so badly and wanted to be a hero. So he comes to Camelot and is eventually accepted into the Round Table, as opposed to say, well, and actually Arthur, King Arthur. If you look at like the a lot of the stories, he basically starts out as a nobody peasant and then ends up becoming the destined king when he pulls the sword from the stone and so on. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with. Now, from the ruling class, you can have something like the Count of Monte Cristo, where you have somebody that you know is upper class, but basically becomes a prisoner. Because he's rich and powerful and famous, and somebody doesn't like that. So, okay, considering the remake just came out, I'm tempted to start quoting Shodan. I don't even know what that is. I'm just here to make $1,000,000 ducats.
Okay, all right, so...
It must be a king. Why do you say that?
He's the only one not covered in shit.
You use that word.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It's tacked on as songs in a bad musical. Yes, indeed. All right. Did you catch up with all of those?
More or less.
Okay. Shodan is an AI villain in the game System Shock.
Oh, okay. We've heard a lot of System Shock. We've never played it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I guess I kind of didn't get with all this.
Okay.
Okay, someone needs to look out for the poor, oppressed ruling class.
Yeah, I like the idea of a visiting merchant out here to try to set up trade with these techno-magical types and getting drawn into a slightly ridiculous mystery despite himself. Yes, especially if he's got a non-interference clause in his science things, you know? And yet they're dragging him into it, yes.
So the totally different alien...
Or in her, in this case, yeah.
Yeah, the totally different alien culture definitely fits with the original idea of, you know, you're part of the space crew.
Yeah,
that is visiting
and it looks like a feudal planet, and you think you know what's going on here, but you really have no clue, because it's actually, you know, could be the feudal... It's feudal in that it's a... like an ant colony. It has a single ruler who is the queen, who is the one that creates all the other things, and they're all just part of the herd. They have, you know.
Okay, so a misfit from totally different / alien culture.
Is that what we picked?
Yep.
Okay.
And people.
I remembered Countdown to Doomsday by Access Software or System Shock by Looking Glass. Both used Amnesia as a driver for the environmental storytelling. Interesting.
Let's add merchant class to that.
Okay.
So we'll say middle / merchant class.
Yeah, you could be, instead of the idea of you're a scientist with a scientist's background and people support behind you, you could be a roving merchant that has his own little spaceship and is sort of like, the Mandalorian, in that you travel from planet to planet trying to pretend that you're one of these people here trying to sell things and get new technology effectively.
I think it was Paul Anderson who wrote Nicholas Van Ryn stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Man Who Counts is a little punny title of a story he has, and basically it the spacer who is dealing with Nicholas Van Ryn, and theoretically your viewpoint character is the spacer, and he is totally assassin by this. This huge fat guy who runs a Solar Spices and Liquor company, and is constantly using snuff, and has a sloppy beard with snuff in it and stuff like that, and is basically just this totally unlikable character. And this guy's rich, and he's a merchant. All he seems to care about is money, and it's like, why does this guy keep winning? Why does he keep coming out on top? And the man who counts, the man who counts, I can't remember. Read the story.
Okay. All right. I sort of like the idea of a stranger in a strange land who acts strange, but down the line, the person is not acting weird because they're in a foreign land. It's just that they're always weird. Okay. Merchant is a great way to have a character-driven excuse to round robin between the different factions / species. It is. It's
okay.
Well, let's focus on that. We are on a different planet, so they probably
we'll just call it merchant class instead of middle / merchant
all right,
class.
She has her own ship. She is now, she's a trader, and she's looking for something on this world. Always give them a motivation. They're not just, here to sell something. They're looking for information. They are looking for something specific. All of these are possibilities.
Of course, Paul Anderson again wrote Alien Art, which was basically a kind of a first contact thing of, meeting an alien species. They're sort of like beavers, and they have this really amateurish looking primitive sculpture that they do. And eventually, the character, through the course of it, learns how it's so tied up with their identity, and choking up here, really is beautiful and meaningful. After it's kind of too late for the artist,
okay.
So it's a tragedy.
Okay, so we have a female. A female kind of character.
Androgynous
character.
Female character, yeah.
You can interpret it more
Female-ish.
Female, or however you choose to interpret
Yeah,
her.
it could be female or,
Yes.
trans female or...
Yeah, because
or
we're
just-
kind of... Or just simply... it doesn't come up.
Yes.
But we have her appearance.
Her-
Now, our next question on the list is... who is the antagonist? But I think we'll push that down the stack.
Okay,
Let's put that down the stack.
so we're looking for motivations
We're
next.
looking for what are they trying to do and what the story is. Because we now have the setting, we have our character, we have this character actually has transportation and has some technology that is not endemic to the world. Or you could have a just initiated cartographer, someone who goes to planets and charts not just space travels, but also charts planets themselves. Then you have to ask, who are they working for? Why do they go to these planets and charts these things? Is it for a company that goes and does terraforming or does future invasions on these things or colonization of worlds? And, what's it for? Them presenting might be the best phrase to capture the specifics and the vagaries. Fine. That's a good way of putting it, yes. You can do a whole thing of how the merchant is breaking intergalactic laws against the Prime Non-Interference Directive. Later, she learns that the Prime Directive is nothing more than big business bullying the small business as the governments and corporations are routinely violating it.
And the question,
How
of course.
do we think that's the right way to go? Because there we go. We've got a whole.
Okay, so Asian waste story.
Well, it's got its advantages. It's already told us what's going to happen in the course of the game. She is going to learn more about her own world.
Okay, so this is kind of a revolt against society thing that almost goes into the antagonist. So we already know you're a misfit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of relation to the rules, relation to the laws.
No, I mean, you don't actually have to put it down. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that
That's a very interesting idea, Asian waste.
I think we should just keep, nobody else proposed anything else, so therefore we'll go.
There we go. We got a story. And in fact, that's actually the best way to resolve these kind of design by committee things, is to have somebody on the committee who has
Actually
strong
has a
enough
clue.
opinions and says, I think it should be like this.
Yes, so now we have the subtext for our character. Our character does trade with places that she's not supposed to go to. The worlds probably that are verboten, and she sneaks under the radar to go to these places. Yes. Maybe you should be a more inexperienced character, so you and the character learn and grow together. Well, does the character need to be inexperienced when the world they're in, they are totally inexperienced in this world?
Right. So they might actually have some real skills that will come out through the course of the story, but are not necessarily obvious because
and
it
the player
seems
doesn't have to know them either. And
so.
but the inexperienced character says that you don't have a big company behind you. You are on your own, so you are the lone wolf type of character coming to these worlds that you have no real idea what's going on.
So one version of that is Keith Laumer had the series of Retief stories, Retief Galactic Diplomat, and they're a little bit silly, but Retief is he's kind of a traditional hero. He's super strong, and
He's
so
James Bond.
he's James Bond really.
As a diplomat, yes.
And the thing is, he's working for a completely corrupt government and diplomatic corps. The Corps Diplomatique Terrestrian is just all a bunch of posers, and the bureaucrats are all stuffed shirts, etc. And he's the one who goes in there and actually gets things done.
Gets the treaties made, things like that. But that's another approach.
Which he does mostly by breaking all the rules and laws.
Yes. Well, and also by listening to the aliens that he's dealing with and learning how their culture is and learning how to live by their rules
Instead of pushing
rules.
Earth culture on
So
them.
yeah,
Yes.
so we have somebody that's going under the radar, it's on a world they don't know much about. They are trying to accomplish something which we don't know yet. What is their prime motivation in this? Is it, motivations can change. Maybe she just came here to do some trading and to get a few of the magic items that they have on this world.
Yeah, so it could be a Ferengi type trying to grab whatever she can, or it can be trying to open diplomacy with a seemingly hostile species that she's trying to become friends with. Could be totally self-centered. Could be altruistic.
Yes, careful not to become too much like Avatar. Yes, we do not want the white savior trope, which is where.
Well, maybe they do. Maybe our people here do, but
yeah,
we don't.
Let's avoid the cliche of the whites, which much of Quest for Glory was the white savior.
White man's burden. White man's burden.
Yeah, the savior who comes in to save these places as an outsider. A lot of Quest for Glory fell into that thing.
So Montrose says, character knows the world is about to end. Nobody believes him, so she puts it upon herself to find a way to save it.
That's an interesting. That gives you your motivation right from the beginning, Bud. what's going to destroy the world becomes it. Yes.
So the idea here is basically, what's your storyline? What's your plot? What kind of things are you trying to do here? And you didn't really ask, how do they do it?
That's okay. That's what's determined.
My my story, you've probably heard from me a million times, is that my way of looking at how to do a puzzle in a game is not to say what'll be a cool puzzle. It's to say, what problems do the characters in this game have that they need help with? Where can you fit in trying to help other people solve their problems?
Well, Asian Waste says we can parallel a lot of peasants of the feudal countryside who are bound by society from any social upward momentum, paralleling the fact that she is in a society that does not allow, that corporations are in control, and it does not allow upward things, because you have to be a member of the company.
Yeah, and we said we didn't want to have the savior coming in,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a category of basically uplift,
Mm-hmm.
which was the David Brin books, that you're coming into a not very developed planet here. They've got a feudal technology and so on, and you're trying to help them in some way. Now, what you could be helping them with is, it might be a society in which women do not have any power. And as a woman, you're coming, or if I'm presenting, you're coming in here and you want to change the status quo and help women get power.
Yes.
You could be trying to end slavery.
Or you could be coming in not knowing anything and learn this as you go along and wind up getting more and more involved in this while you're outrunning the police that are now on your tail because they found your ship or whatever.
Which isn't allowed there.
Which isn't, yes. Well, this is a restricted planet.
You could be trying to sell them technology, and that's illegal because it's, as you say, prime directive type thing. And maybe you're trying to improve their lives by giving them technology.
So, all of these are possibilities. Do you come in with good intentions?
So how are they going to solve it?
Yeah, well, they have to have a question. I mean, this is all comes down to question. Do you want it that the character you're playing from
Would we
the
ask a
beginning,
question, or would you have them type something?
well, we're getting more and more interesting ideas, and so this is
There we
fine.
go.
We don't have to decide anything at this point. We can keep getting ideas.
There's one from Yosh.
Maybe they have a greenhouse on their ship that houses a genetically engineered plant that is grown by conflicting ideals, which are gained by meeting new people. Once fully grown, it produces the fruit of their house or family that will secure their future.
Okay, something like Encanto.
Yes, your magical fruit.
Your magical
Magic
house.
Yes, magic can be a parallel to breaking boundaries and breaking the norms or what is expected. Yes, indeed. So we're kind of getting our feel.
Or maybe you're just trying to introduce a plant that is just an incredibly useful thing that can be used for food and building and so on. But there's a question of, does it really do that here, or is on this planet could turn into an invasive species?
Well,
do we want to twist the plot halfway through and say you came here to do one thing, but halfway through the story determine that was really kind of a bad idea? How do I fix what I've, the bad thing that I actually did and thought was a good thing?
Was the plot of the most recent Pixar movie that was there.
Which one?
I can't remember which name it was. The one where they are on an alien world and they find out that they actually have a plant that they're using that powers all of their space station. All their spaceships.
All right. Which recent Pixar movie was this, people? What's the name of it?
And that's the one that the woman, the teacher in Florida, tried to show to her kids because it's all about environmentalism, and that had a gay kid on it, and that got her. That practically wanted to
fired.
Yes, but at any rate, we'll go back to the game we're making here. Yes, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name. It's that memorable. That was the problem with it. And it is on Disney Plus, so you too can watch it.
Okay, well, so look for a
All
recent
right.
Pixar film.
Or go to Disney Plus, which you actually have there, and I can tell you. This is
Lightyear?
No, not Lightyear, not Elemental, which is their newest one. Wait a second. No, they're not showing it.
Pixar films in order.
Yeah.
They did a lot
I
of
see
stuff.
that. Yeah, they did, but this is not the list you want. Go to Disney Plus, okay?
All right.
If you're going to show them the screen of things, you don't have a link to it.
.com.
I don't know what it is. I have it. It's automatic for me. Log in.
That's secrets. We can't show that.
Okay. Yes, you can show that.
I don't even know if I have an account.
You have. Oh, you don't. All right, fine. You haven't watched anything on this?
Apparently
Silly
not.
person. Lori, then go. You could have gone with me, but at any rate. Your password is, yes. You guys need to advertise these. I just randomly decided to ask what the hell happened to the live streams, and then Joseph Davis linked this here just now. Oh, well.
Okay, where did you ask that?
Strange World. Thank you, Yoshi.
Yes, Strange World.
Okay,
But I don't
fine.
have to log into Disney
You
Plus.
don't have to.
I'll do that sometime. Strange World.
Uh-huh.
So let's go to.
And yes, QF More Glory Facebook. Yes, we do it on our Facebook, and that sometimes gets shared to the other ones. Strange World.
But if this is popular, we'll do it again some more.
Okay, yes, you could show this.
Here's our desktop.
Yeah. Now, this actually does to the question, how alien is the world we're going to? Strange World and Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania are both set in a very, very strange world, a very unique one. Ha! I'm hacking your mainframe. Your Disney account is mine.
Arr.
Yeah, you need to be in the Transsolar Discord, Arlo Hero. Yes, you do.
Absolutely
That's
do.
where
You
we
do.
really get information.
Do we need to link that somehow? We need to go to run Discord.
You have to run Discord for that. You don't have it running currently. Let's go back to us while you're trying to find things. Yes.
Okay.
Or follow the Patreon. You don't have to subscribe or be a member to follow. Yes, those are the best ways to find information about it. Okay. So, yes. In addition...
I think it's something like that.
Okay.
Corey,
Well,
maybe.
did you... Yeah, it looks
I
like
guess I get a link to
you
it
would
instead.
give a link to it. Yeah, you could just do it that way. Besides, you want to give them a one-day membership.
Oh, here it
yours
is. Patreon.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Patreon.
Yes, if you
Okay.
follow our Patreon,
Go to that page.
My page.
My page. Go to that specific page. No,
it's
no.
Corey Lloyd Cole. Here it is.
Okay.
Okay, here's the actual link.
Yeah.
And this specific post.
Was there. Okay, so you could show that page. When it
So
comes
this is
to-
our
we
most
didn't
recent
actually go to
post
that
on
page.
Patreon. Let's build a game live stream today. Is it?
Oh, that was the whole of it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. It wasn't very exciting, was it?
Yes, it was.
Meep? Yes, indeed, Meep. Okay, so
That's just
back
the word.
to the question. How Earth-like is this world we're going to? Now, in addition to
I
who
need
our
to,
character is,
close
which
this
we,
file.
the female presenting outsider merchant class person who has come to this world under the
Evil
radar,
Corporation.
under the radar. Oh, I got it.
Under the radar.
Yes.
Sing
The
craps.
radar of your government that you're under. You've come to this planet. How alien is this planet? Because we don't have to be an Earth-like. Or is it Earth-like? That, I think, needs to be on the poll.
All right.
What are you trying? Okay, so. Okay.
A big zero.
I mean, this is fun, Yash. This is what gets us excited. This is, these potential stories are just the Ray things. I think the grass should be green, the sky's still blue, but the inhabitants are all over the place. Well, that's a possibility. Very alien, non-human, not Earth-like with aliens.
Okay, Earth-like with aliens.
It is always fun brainstorming. There's always the best parts of doing things like these. So,
I'm going to put in a totally different from us category, and that's like the silicon-based life forms in Star Trek.
yeah.
Or it could be,
now,
it could be oozes.
Right,
you know.
and it going to requires life support. That's very interesting too, because it means that our character has a limitation. They have a real ad, like in the game Champions. You had advantages, but you also had disads. So the fact is, this character goes in having a disad. They have to have a breather to be able to stay in this environment. Disadvantage of it is it blocks the face. It takes out half your emotions and things. You're in a mask like the Mandalorian.
Which makes it hard to present emotion. So Arlo Hero asked, you always brainstorm the world before getting inspired to write the story? It's like Meatloaf said, let me sleep on it. Lori spends huge number of hours at the beginning of a project just dreaming or daydreaming about them and telling herself stories and then refining them from there.
Yeah.
My frustration is she doesn't always write them down and I'm supposed to work on them.
Yeah, well, I think there's a strong element of inspiring life support that assists in narrative and mechanical parameters. Yeah, there is. And there's already drama because you know if you go into the world with life support systems, some point in the game, that's going to break down because it's a smoking gun. Sometime you're going to lose your thing, and either you're going to have to become one of the aliens, or change bodies like Avatar, or like City, I think it was by Simak, which the person's marooned on Mars and eventually adapts and becomes a Martian over the course of the story.
Yeah, there was a story set on Venus in which Venus was completely swampy and that basically they had like penal colonies and nobody could escape from it because basically, you couldn't go 10 miles in the hostile environment. Let's
see. I kind of think the world being larger than the story is essential for investment, at least for myself. Exactly. It is, we're at one point of the world, one little corner of the world that we are going to deal with. We probably won't be world hopping. We want to actually have the player invested in an area. Yes. This answers the questions. Why doesn't the character take the next boat to the other islands? If his ship is broken down and it's trying to find the parts to fix the ship or a way to get the fixed ship repaired, you have your drama. You have your story. Why doesn't he leave? Because they bloody well can't.
Yeah, that was our survival on Sigma 7 is you crash landed. Mm-hmm. You can't just take off again.
Yeah.
So you need to basically find things on the planet and you meanwhile need to find the saboteur who might or might not be in your group.
I would suggest an Earth-like similar. However, the air is not good for the character and is slowly poisoning her. It also introduces a sense of urgency to achieve your goal, especially if you maroon him here. I mean, the minute you maroon him on this world, then you've got high drama coming in. Yes.
Yeah, there's food and drink, but it's missing vital, or either missing vital nutrients, or it contains things that are toxic in large quantities.
Yes, or toxic that accumulate in the body.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
so
heavy metals that's in the food, and so every time she's eating, she is
shortening
her life eggs.
Yes.
That's called Earth. The air is slowly poisoning you here. That's why you need antioxidants. That's correct. There is too much oxygen. Just having too much oxygen in the air will do it to you. So, yeah. Okay. Wow.
And
Earth-like alien creatures won with 3 votes. Yes.
and requires life support, got 2 votes. So we definitely want, so I like this, this idea of the gradual poisoning fits pretty well.
Yeah. Heavy metals or oxygen. Too much oxygen. Too much oxygen also gives you different problems. Too much oxygen probably means you can't have a fire. How about a society that cannot use fire? Because if they use fire, things blow up. I mean, and it's too much oxygen means that she is going to be suffering as they go along. And so we have a world where you can't use fire, so you can't use guns. You I don't know. How much oxygen do you want it to be? Yeah. Create a world where life evolved differently than on Earth. So the entire series has an anti-feminist bent, unlike those feminist themes of Quest for Glory. And Corey is wearing a red MAGA hat instead of the blue hat he has on now. That's quite. Are you Arlo hero or anti-hero here? Basically, a bunch of humans wanted to negotiate with a pre-hyperdrive society for some artifacts of a lost hidden race, higher tech than their own, much less the natives. But the entire global biochemistry was poisonous. Had to do everything with a robot. Oh, that's cool.
So what was the story?
You'll have to go back because I read the.
As in one of Isaac's universe.
Uh-huh.
So Isaac Asimov, I
Yeah,
assume?
yeah, of course. And has anyone read the ISIS trilogy by
somebody
Monica Hughes? Ideas for
Hughes.
this game remind me of those books. Okay. Interesting.
So many people, I mean, not just game designers, writers, are constantly doing world build. There used to be a world building workshop at ThunderCon
Yeah.
every year where they would, and various other science fiction conventions. Actually, almost every SF convention has at least one panel or workshop on
world
building.
Which is exactly what we're doing here. Reminds me of John Carter of Mars. The character also gained special skills abilities in this alien world. I really like the idea that the character, our main protagonist, will change over the course of this. And maybe grow from being, I mean, I don't want to go all Avatar-ish.
There was a story, I'm thinking it was Bradbury, that had the one where the person was trapped in a ancient Martian city, and discovered that there was like a receptacle, a little trough that would give him small amounts of food and water.
That's The City by Simak, and I
City by
described
Simak?
it earlier.
You
Yes,
did, okay.
Yes,
And eventually the character decides he has to adapt because the city is killing itself.
He doesn't realize it. He thinks the city's adapting to him, and it's really his body is adapting to the city, and he becomes
which has to happen because the
yeah.
the intelligent living city is discovering that it's basically destroying itself by giving him water that it can't afford.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Asimov created the core universal concepts, and other science fiction authors wrote for it. There were 3 collections, and that specific story is quite close to what we're creating. In fact, the people behind the robots were women. Yeah, that's really interesting. And they even mentioned having attempted sending a woman as an ambassador at one point. It didn't go well, and she wound up having to kill a few natives to escape. Always a bad thing. So, if this were my story, I would say she's temporarily marooned on this planet, because that gave us drama. If you're going to do a story that takes place on a humble countryside, there can be a joke where the common menial gift actually has a ton of value. For instance, the player is constantly given apples as a gift and eventually amasses a whole pantry full of them. Turns out the apples serve as an expensive source of fuel, okay?
There's a little thing in one of the World of Warcraft expansions where there is an ent, a giant tree creature in the city, and if you're playing a druid character, other people can trade with it. If you're playing a druid character, every time you go by it, it throws you an apple, and thanks you for you protecting plants and protecting nature. So the idea that it's always interesting when it's interesting, but a conflict when you have some item in the game that seems unimportant, but later becomes important. And the problem is, if it seems unimportant, players trying to find more room in their inventory or something
might throw it away.
Tend to throw it away.
Yeah.
How do you figure out what you need to keep?
Yosh says, maybe the change manifests as bioluminescent patterns on the PC skin, which give them more abilities, but is a parasite that's killing her. Or maybe a parasite that eventually
you have to adapt to
and becomes a symbiote at
instead of a parasite. Yes.
Yes. But initially, you think it's a parasite and you're trying to get rid of it that whole time. And Bexar is there to exchange beads and shells for land. Always a possibility.
So I like this idea, the idea that you are in a poisonous environment. You are seemingly attacked by a parasite or by a creature. And eventually you come to the terms with it and learn that if you, accept it, if you accept Christ into your life, that it will help you to adapt to the environment is no longer poisonous to you. But once you do that, you can never leave.
Ah, well, that's it. Yes, that parasite can't live off-world. So now you're trapped on this world. Interesting.
And especially if you effectively develop a relationship with the symbiote to the point where you don't want any harm to come to it.
Right.
So
which,
even if you could
has the advantage of you have somebody to talk to the whole time. You are now talking to the symbiote, i.e., it's not quite the venom. It's not a venom situation, but something similar.
And this at this point could definitely turn into a lots of sequels, multiplayer, etc. game.
Uh-huh. All right. Broader question on storytelling. Did you ever work with Christy Marx?
Not directly.
We played games with her occasionally.
Yeah, we talked to her. Mutual Admiration Society. We gave her tips when she asked, but mostly she did her own thing.
Yes, but yes, she was a professional writer. She'd worked for comic books. She'd worked for cartoons before coming to Sierra.
Worked in Hollywood.
Thanks to Ellen Guan, who we mentioned earlier, who was Christy Marx's friend, and she helped bring her in here. And Ellen also tried to get Mercedes Lackey to come to Sierra, and tried to get ElfQuest to Sierra, and basically the Williams just didn't understand ElfQuest, and so they didn't.
And that was my big screw up, as we had met Misty Lackey at conventions, loved her singing and her music and so on, and then when she came to visit Sierra, I didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
And she thought I was disrespecting her, and
yes.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah. All right. From Volume 3, Unnatural Diplomacy, the story One Man's Meat by Lawrence Watt Evans. Okay. Let's see. If you eat certain things to feed it by off products, the parasite helps you breathe better, process the toxins in the environment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things you need to do is learn what its needs are. Yeah. And that's that gets into my whole thing about designing an adventure game is finding out what the other characters need.
Right, and more to the point, having your character have a problem. Their problem is they're going to be running out of oxygen. Their life support cannot sustain them for long. They have to find a way, and they're looking for parts to fix it, but they can't find the parts on this magic-based world. But instead, they meet this parasite who effectively becomes their savior. I mean, in that sense.
Mother says, reminds me of the Babelfish in Hitchhiker's Guide.
To allow you to understand the aliens, yes. Or a bit of the Trill in Star Trek, yes.
So the Steve Maretsky version of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy game, was it Maretsky? I think it was Maretsky. Has whoever did it, whoever collaborated with Douglas Adams in this, did the Babelfish puzzle, one of those infamous puzzles in adventure gaming. And that's because you do the obvious thing to catch the Babelfish, and it doesn't work, but that gives you a clue as to the next thing you can try, and it keeps resetting itself, so you can keep shooting the Babelfish out of this slot in the wall, and after you do about 6 or 8 things in a row, you finally actually manage to catch the babblefish and put
Yes,
in your
it
ear.
is a notoriously frustrating puzzle, but it works.
But it's fair
Yes.
because
You can do it. Hilariously, my Isaac Universe books were quite close to my King's Quest novels on the bookshelves. Wendy Peeney, dude, yes, that would have been awesome. Yes, wouldn't it? We could have done...
we met Richard and Wendy Peeney. We never did much with them.
No, but we could have had Elf Quest at Sierra. Yes. It is a shame that they didn't mesh. By the way, I noticed Christy Marks credited in one of the original Gargoyle comic books for Marvel. There's a link between Gargoyles and Quest for Glory.
Oh, there we go.
All right, so what is the parasite gaining from the protagonist? Good question. Is the parasite from this world?
Oh yeah, is it a strange outside species too?
And it can't survive on this world without a host, effectively.
And the player coming from off-world is the best host for it.
Yes.
So it says a free ride, like seeds from birds that eat them. That's our mystery. Or, as we said, maybe you need to feed the parasite, which becomes a symbiote.
Yes, that's our mystery. How are we going to survive on this world? How are we going to do it? Yes.
And, of course, that's really just a side quest because you're here for a reason. You've got an objective in the world, but in order to fulfill your objective, you need to survive.
Yes. And it's an outsider, too. You just blew my mind, Lori. Yeah. Originally, the parasite may also be surviving, but they may have also a darker motive as well. That can all... your symbiote could be the antagonist. Because one of the next topics is who opposes you? Who is your antagonist? And it could be that we do have a Venom situation where the parasite will be acting on its own and trying to get you to do things because it has its own purpose here. Although, given that that's kind of the story of Venom,
maybe we don't want to do that.
Maybe we don't want to go that direction.
Unless, of course, if we got a license from Venom to do it, in which case somebody might actually pay us to make the game.
Right, yes.
I think we're running out of time.
That's fine.
We may want to continue this in 2 weeks.
We might. Who is the protagonist? Yes, we've got, what are they trying to do? How does the player interact? Oh, the basics of game design. So, yeah, let us postpone this. Let us...
To be continued.
To be continued. Originally, the parasite may... Yes, let's see. Spitballing this. The parasite could be the secret, unsaid player character.
Okay, so your homework assignment before the next stream is to take these ideas and do a little bit of write-up of the pitch for the game to a publisher, and we'll see how many completely different write-ups we get from people.
Ooh, Belzar! Like the real-life fungal parasites of bugs? So creepy.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
But your character is kind of humanoid, so
you
you're
don't
not
actually have to do that. But you should think about this. You do not actually write anything up. But think about this. That is kind of icky to think that the parasite, the symbiote that is inside of you, really is the kind that is just looking for a place to use you to reproduce in.
Ah, Alien.
An alien, yes. Oh, great. I'm having
the movie
flashbacks to university. Here comes homework. Yeah.
Yep.
Put it this way, we wouldn't do that, so I don't know why we would make you. But yes, think about these things.
Hey, you used to run the School for Heroes, and you made people do
I
class
did.
assignments.
They got
and they loved it.
They loved it. So if you want to do a class assignment, fine. We now have the seeds of the game. You get to think about how you want this to go. We have all these possibilities. We'll need to define it.
Yeah, so what's the story? What are some puzzles or events or situations?
Oh, I'll do it. Yes, what is the relationship?
Well, she had some great ideas, so I'd actually love to read your write-up.
Yeah.
And then if OSU did it, I'd love to read that one too, and it'll be completely different.
It would be, because these are just bits and pieces. It's how you interpret it. I work at a university, but not in a position to either give or receive homework, and you're just as glad.
And we said every different group making a game, every designer will come up with a different one.
Yep. So yes, we now have some very interesting possibilities.
We're not trying
that
to
are
make
really
the
setting-
game. We're trying to make a game.
Yes. And yeah, that was to Brainiac about chemistry. Yes, indeed. And that's what it sounded like. So, any rate, I think this is a great start. I've got a lot of things to think about. Believe me, I will be working on this possibility too.
Instead of the Feo's
Instead of
adventure.
Feo's adventure. Well, in
But
addition
today
to
is
that.
Saturday, and Friday was the day that Lori said every Friday I should read through her
Reread.
script so far, and I didn't get to them yesterday.
Yes.
So
So, any rate, we still have questions like what is the antagonist? Are we dealing with a government? Are we going to deal with the government above?
oh yes,
The outside government, the one that's. Are they sending people after our hero, and our hero is in hiding? All of these are questions of, and do we actually engage in the feudal society? Try to upend the feudal society or change that society.
yeah. One important statement is conflict makes the story. So you can have internal conflict. You can have we have now the environment as an antagonist. That's already been worked out.
Oh, cool. So we're, specifically neurological research, lab manager,
Core
and
mouse
mouse
colony
colony
worker.
with knockout mice. Yes. No wonder you got Savarius as your avatar on
S8.
S8.
Well, that's okay. I don't know what Savarius is or S8.
And multiple lines of knockout mice. Isn't
Ah.
that cool? Yeep. Ah, cool.
I don't know what a knockout mouse is.
Knockout mice, I think, that are genetically modified to have
What?
different genes that are not activated, if I remember correctly. Any rate, y'all have fun with this.
Tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends.
Come back in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, yeah. Tag Petals Viper Oil brand lubricant. Now that's another possibility. We do not have to have a good protagonist. She can really be the one that's.
But we do want you to be able to identify with her.
Yes, we do. A website for Gargoyle fans. Okay, from that series. An immortal geneticist voiced by Tim Curry. Gods, I guess I have to watch the Gargoyle series. Yes.
Now, Lori's already about 10 series ahead of me.
Yep. Any rate, thanks you all
Thanks
for
for coming.
showing and listening and participating in this workshop. And we should have a very exciting sequel to this so that we can actually, make this a full proposal. It is on Disney Plus. I have seen it there. I just never
Live
thought of
long and
watching
prosper.
it. Yes. Peace and long life. Thank you for another engaging stream. You are most welcome, and thank you for showing up and participating. And we'll see you next time. Ta ta ta.